Welcome to the Outlaws Podcast. This is the final podcast of this regular season. Joining me on the show is Drew. Ben just dropped off the call. I don't know if it had something to do with him not wanting to talk to Drew, or is the fact that Drew is podcasting from the back of his minivan with his mom and his, his stepdad in the front seat. How is this going to happen, Drew?
What's that?
Just explain the situation that you're in right now.
Okay, I'm in the back of a truck with headphones in my ear, and I've got Mom and Hal in the front seat, so I'm going to have to watch my language today, but hopefully I can still get my point across.
All right, well, I guess we'll just try to keep this one short and sweet. Go ahead and jump into the power rankings at the very end. No surprise here. I've got Brad at number 12. Generous that I even mentioned his name.
I'm totally okay with you just going through the list of the eliminated teams, and then we'll offer some brief thoughts on them as a whole.
Yep, so I've got Brad at the end. He actually tied Michael 4-4 this week, but this team is not giving much of an effort right now. It could have been a lot better if he just made a few moves here and there, because the core of the roster wasn't never that bad to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how many teams that ended up with Chris Davis finished in 12, but definitely underwhelmed this year. Definitely in jeopardy of not coming back next year. He hasn't shown any kind of effort since 2012.
All right, at number 11 in the power rankings, I've got the first Shimmer brother, Eric.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Eric as well, not that it really mattered at all, but didn't set his lineup today, had Mark Burley on the bench, doesn't really have a lot of incentive to play for, so I understand a little bit where he's coming from, but I don't know what happened to this team. It seemed like you were a big fan of it a few weeks ago as being a sleeper team to make the playoffs. It just didn't happen.
He was one of the two teams that beat me the last 15 weeks, so I guess that's where my respect came from for him, but I mean, I guess we'd have to say it was better than we hoped, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every team. There's no teams that you could just set your roster and know that you're at least going to win 7-3. Everybody was pretty competitive this year, so I liked it from that standpoint.
Yeah, and one of the best decisions we ever made was to replace Brad with Eric Shim in that group text.
All right, moving on. Number 10 in the power rankings, I've got Derek there. Derek probably had his best week of the season this week, a monster week. Won 6-4. I've been higher on Derek's team than everybody throughout the year. It just didn't happen. Anthony Rendon, probably the bust of the entire draft. Just really bad luck there. Spent $30-something on him and been completely worthless even when he was healthy. So that's got to hurt. And he's just had a lot of injuries this year. If it was me, I probably would have cut ties with a few of those injuries now that he was in crunch time. But I guess now that he's waited so long, what's the point?
Yeah, just the whole strategy with his pitching staff really hurt him this year. I mean, he pretty much locked himself out of a couple categories every week. I mean, he did well in ERA and WHIP, but he consistently lost wins and strikeouts throughout the year, and that's 40 categories right there. So, or 42. So, I didn't really like Derek's strategy. I also felt like he was less committed than ever because in the past he streamed. He didn't really stream much this year. I think he only made about 30 pickups or so. So I don't know what happened this year with Derek. We kind of seen this with everyone as they start to have kids, with the exception of Nick. And hopefully this was just an off year, a down year for Derek. He'll come back full strength next year.
And at number 9 in the power rankings, I've got Brandon there, the second Shimmer to go on the board.
Is this the end of the teams that are eliminated? Is Brandon at least 10 games out of 6?
Let me pull it up real quick. He's definitely on the outside looking in. I should have had Stat Tracker pulled up. Let's see.
I don't know if I want to write out his little tombstone message here. Or if
so Brandon lost 6-4 this week to Jordan. So I think John is currently in 6th place. So let me figure that out real quick. So we actually gained some ground on John. Let's see. He is, I guess he's about 6.5 out, I think he's 5.5 out actually. But he's still got to leapfrog both Jordan and Michael to get there, so it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I won't give him a farewell message exactly, but This is usually what I expect out of Brandon. Last year was just all the pieces came together, and definitely wasn't for lack of trying. Obviously, he used all 75 of his pickups this regular season, with 1 week still to go. So maybe do a little better with that next year. Maybe get a little better pitching staff. The pitching staff really, I think, hurt him this year. And I don't know. I guess his hitters weren't even. Yes, they were average to below average for the most part throughout the season.
Yeah, his hitting was probably middle of the pack. Of course, he lost Miguel Cabrera for a good long stretch there, so that had to hurt.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So and he's got Arenado, D. Gordon, Cespedes, and Brandon Crawford, one of the better shortstops this year. Teixeira. I mean, it's got a pretty good lineup. Pitching staff, I think he pointed it out, was definitely the weakness of this team. He might have had the worst staff in the league.
Right. What do you think about the Desmond trade? You think that had something to do with it?
What trade?
The Ian Desmond trade.
Oh yeah, everybody knows I was not a big fan of that trade. I seem to be the only one in the league. I think I heard about a week ago that Ian Desmond is the number one shortstop since the All-Star break. And Craig Kimbrell for Betances never made any sense to me. I know that he wasn't really going for saves, but, what's the point? I don't know. I guess he was expecting 4 second-half wins for Betances. Didn't happen. And Kimbrell's been pretty good, too. So that was a big trade for you. And then the fact that you got Tyson Russ back, I guess you did give up Teixeira to get Russ back, so I can't really complain about that.
That's right. But then Teixeira got hurt, so that one's even worked out a little bit in my favor. Although Teixeira had a pretty good run once Eric got him once Brandon got him before he got hurt. I'll have to say that out of all even though Brandon had a bad year, the last couple of years, I'd say Brandon's stock in my mind has gone up the most. I can't imagine playing another league without him.
Why do you say that? I mean, why do you think his stock has gone up the most?
I don't know.
I mean, you guys had a pretty big feud when he first came into the league. You totally disrespected him, knocked you out of the playoffs last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to get a chance to get revenge this year, but obviously, looks like that's a long possibility from happening. But I think just the way he participates, and obviously he tries because he used all 75 of his pickups. I think I can't imagine ever playing again without him.
All right, and congratulations on having Jared Eichhoff on your final roster, Brandon.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I wanted to say it, but I didn't have the internet to look up the pickup, but I had that on my mind yesterday.
All right, let's move it on. Number 8 in the power rankings. We've got the beginning of a 3-team race. Well, I consider it because I don't really think Brandon has much of a shot, but a 3-team race to get this final playoff spot. And I got Michael all the way down at 8. That's probably the lowest I've had him in months. So very low ranking there for Michael, but he's really kind of slumped here lately. He had a chance to make up some ground playing against Brad this week, and came out with a tie, so that really hurt him.
How many games back of John is he?
Let's see. He will be 21-3. He's going to be 3 games back. That's not right. Yeah, three games back. I thought he had a closer gap than that.
I mean, if he uses anything less than 4 pickups this week, I'm going to be very disappointed in him.
And
he's got him to spare. Who is he playing the last week?
He's actually, and this is good news for John. I know that he's playing you. We'll get to that in a second. But he's playing Jordan next week. So that's going to be an all-out battle between the stepbrothers to try and make up a huge swing and a win to catch him. Obviously, they're playing. They got to be happy that you're playing, John, because you got the best record in the league. So they feel like they can make up some ground. But you got 2 teams that are going to be going all out against each other, so it's not going to be easy.
Okay, I do notice how you carefully phrase they got to be happy that John's playing you because you got the best record in the league.
What do you mean?
You said best record, not best team. I noticed you.
We're doing the power rankings. I don't want to give any spoilers away.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I guess obviously John's hoping that do that out to about a 5-5 tie. How many games back did you say he was?
He's 3 games back.
3 games back. I might put Jordan here. It's all going to come down to who's got the most 2-star guys, I guess, this week.
I actually did take a look at that a little bit earlier, and Jordan, I think they each have 3 2-star guys. And, considering that Jordan's probably got 3 or 4 closers now, because he picked up a bunch of closers, which I thought was kind of a strange move to pick him up now, the week you're going to play Michael.
No, it's so strange. And you've got so few pickups. I think he's sitting at like 68 pickups or something on the season. I don't know, that's just terrible managing. That's terrible.
If you're going to make the playoffs, I totally get it. Because those guys should have been owned for the most part. But, yeah, just pick up one of them.
Exactly. No, that's just dumb. I wish I could think of some Donald Trump way of calling him an idiot, a loser, or something like that. But that is not a winning type manager philosophy right there.
And so I took a look. They each have 3 2-star guys. The good news for Jordan is that 2 of his guys that have 3 out of the 3 guys that have 2 starts, he's got Price and Madison Bumgarner going twice.
Huge.
Michael's got 3 guys, and I think one of them is Archer, and the other ones they're not his aces, but I think he's got Joe Ross going twice. So I think Jordan has the slight advantage there.
I think you're right. Did that partially play into the ranking?
It did.
Makes sense.
And so Jordan was a half game back of Michael going into this week. I think he won 6-4, or at least he is right now. I'm not sure if anything could possibly change. But I guess that would leave him to be 5-5, 6-4. He's a half game above. I guess he's 2.5 games back.
Right. And by the way, I guess we should probably take a second to clear up anything for some rookies here. But like, for example, John thought that that trades equal lose on the season. Let's clear up something, because I don't want anybody to mess up in the last week because of a technicality they didn't understand. But if you finish the regular season tied with the same record, whoever had the better week 21 gets the 6th seed. So if there's a tie in the standings, whoever had the better last week of the season is going to be moved ahead and is going to make the playoffs. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the stat tracker on Sunday.
So as the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, who would you prefer to play if say one of these teams were to upset somebody in the first round of the playoffs? Who would you prefer to play between Michael, Jordan, and then John, who have got 6th in the power rankings?
I would have to probably say Jordan, just because I don't trust his managerial decisions right now, and he's going to have so few pickups. Can I get a Coke too, please? He's going to have so few pickups that by the time he gets to, think about it, he's got to battle it out this week. He has to battle it out in the first round of the playoffs. I don't imagine him having 4 pickups left by the time he gets to the second round if he made it. So I'd probably have to say Jordan. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I don't know. They're all pretty close to me. It's hard to say. I think Jordan will be out of pickups by the time the second round would come around. Obviously, John has only got 4 pickups left in the season, so he probably would be out too. So Michael would really be the only team that's got a lot of pickups to go. And, you've got the tiebreaker, everybody, I'm pretty sure. So if you're playing Michael, you've only got to get 5 categories. You know you're going to get saved, so you really just got to get 4 categories from there on out.
That's pretty big.
So
yeah, tiebreaker. I'm sure the tiebreaker is going to come into play. It does every postseason. So you never know when and where it'll be, but I'm sure somebody's going to get burned by the tiebreaker.
And I'm trying to take a look. I think Stanton might be coming back next weekend for John, so that could be a big boost if he gets that. But it might be a little bit too late. I think he's probably going to. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I think he'll make the playoffs, but I keep forgetting he's playing in the last week. So, we have a rule in the Constitution that says you cannot tank, bench your hitters. But you're definitely in a position where it'd be interesting to see if you decide to certainly not use pickups because you want to position yourself to maybe play John instead. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It sounds like you want to beat John and have potentially Jordan get in the playoffs, though.
No, I mean, I'll start all my guys, but if I have ERA and WHIP and saves lock, well, not saves, but if I have ERA and WHIP lock up and I'm ahead in some the hitting categories, I mean, don't be surprised to see me bench my guys down the stretch because all I want is 3 categories. But we all know something fluky can happen. No one expected Brad to beat Nick 8-2 a few weeks ago, and no one expected Nick to then come back a few weeks later and beat John, who was on a roll, 9-1. So anything can happen in a given week. So if I see the chance to lock up a category, I'll do it. And you know what? If Jordan's needing me to win more than 5 categories, well, that's really not my problem. And it's I don't think that's against the Constitution either. If I'm looking for my benefit.
Yeah, I think that rule is mainly to make sure that you don't just try to lose as badly as possible on purpose. But right. I don't think there's anything. A
violation of the rule would be if I shook hands with John right now and said, "I'll give you 7 categories, just give me 3," and I know you make that deal all day. So obviously we won't do that. We'll see how it plays out.
All right. Let's move it on. In the power rankings, up to number 5, I've got Little Ben down there. Probably the lowest I've had him all season.
Wow.
So Ben has pointed out he's lost, 5 or 6 weeks in a row now?
Yeah, it's at least 5 weeks. It might be 6. I think it's 5, though.
So really slumping a lot here. I think his pitching has really been struggling as of late. Offensively, Frazier hasn't done a whole lot lately. Kipnis has cooled down a little bit. Offense is still pretty good. Dozier's cooled down a little bit. I still think he's got one of the better offenses in the league, but the pitching hasn't been as good, and when you're already giving away a category, it makes it tough.
Yeah, if he doesn't go up against one of the other dog-safe teams in the playoffs, I mean, I don't like his chances. Like I said, he pointed out the 5 straight, and obviously with 5 straight losses, I don't know what his tiebreaker situation is, but I can't imagine he has it. I know he doesn't have it against me, and I imagine there's got to be a couple other teams he doesn't have it against. So we'll see when we get there. I thought there was some poor managing on his part. I mean, you're in a fight for the number 2 seed this week, and you spend 3 pickups, I think, on hitters. And, he did well for a while. He was way ahead of pace 5-6 weeks ago and really settled down, did a good job managing them, and then went ahead and kind of fell back into some old bad behaviors this week, I think. So,
one of them had to have been the Avisail Garcia ad and drop a day later.
Exactly. Just things like that. Now, I think Zimmerman was a good ad, but that hurts to burn a pickup like that for a one-day player. So, we'll see when we get around to the playoffs, but I agree. I mean, I don't like Ben's chances at all, and I think it's likely that he probably, he might even be in danger of getting the 5 seed.
Well, right now he's in the 4th spot in the seeding, which made it a little interesting because I know, I guess it was not too long ago I talked to you a few weeks ago, and you were really coveting that 1 seed so that you could have the 1-4 matchup. Because you wanted to play Seth because you thought you wanted to play Seth or John. Now it could be Ben. I don't know how much of has that changed at all? Do you care as much about getting the 1-4 matchup over the 2-3 matchup?
I mean, obviously I'm locked into the 1 seed, so I'm gonna. It's weird. The whole purpose of me wanting the 1 seed was to avoid you and Ben, and now it looks like I could possibly play Ben anyways. So I guess I don't care as much. I beat him 8-2 twice. I'm not really worried about him. I imagine he'll be out of pickups, or at least close to, by the time he gets to the second round of the playoffs. So not as worried about it. I know I'd have a category locked up against him. I guess I wouldn't be that worried about it, but it's definitely been an interesting turn. I expected Ben to not finish as the top seed overall, but in no way did I think he would slip down to 4th.
Yep, it's been a long decline. I didn't realize how long it had been going on until he pointed it out, and I'm just looking at the team right now, and it's just all around slump for his team. I'm looking at the last 30-day stats, and a lot of these guys that he recently had to make it look not so bad, but Dozier ranked 373 the last month. 416 for Frazier, 1130 for Kipnis, and even 81 for Goldschmidt. You expect him to be more of at least a top 20 guy over a 30-day period.
Goldschmidt's been a little. I mean, he's been okay, but he has been a little quiet. I expect the offense to be fine, but it's the pitching, trusting all those rookies in the playoffs. It could go either way, but it's definitely a gamble.
Yep. Yeah, he's got one pitcher on his entire staff. I'm sorry, he's got two. I forgot Keuchel. That's ranked in the top 100 over the last month, and that's just him and Fires. Severino's been a pretty good add too. Not quite in the top 100, but he's got a lot of guys that are out of the top 1,000. So he's got a lot of guys that have really exploded and that have hurt him. So that's really where the struggles have been this last month is the pitching. All right, let's move it.
The question, was John Gray worth it?
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was either.
All right, number 4 in the power rankings. I did not expect this to happen, but I got Nick S. all the way up there, the final Shimmer brother. Looks to be pretty secured now in a playoff position. Pretty sizable lead. He's all the way up to 5th in the standings. And he's over, he was 6 games back of John entering this week. Beat him 9-1. So now he's got a 3-game lead over John, which means he's got a 3-game lead over over John and then over that 7th seed, I think. So he's basically like 5 or 6 games up at least of the next team out. So he's pretty safe in there unless he goes like an 0 for 10 next week.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? I mean, no one has been more up and down than Nick S. Maybe Jordan's been with up and then down, same with Michael, but I mean, Nick, like I said, this is a guy that lost 8-2 to Brad 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I thought he was done. And to come back like this, I knew how big this week was against John. I talked to Nick about it last week. I said, man, if you're going to the playoffs, this week is going to go a large way towards doing that. And, he came through. He had a huge weekend. He was down going into Friday. And for him to come back like that is just, I never would have expected anything like that.
Yeah, he's had his offense has picked it up a little bit lately, despite Trout being pretty cold. And Piscotty has been a big pickup for him. Francisco Lindor has been a huge pickup for him, considering a shortstop ranked 35th over the last month. So he's had some Lucroy starting to play a little bit better lately. Pitching, I don't know what to make of the staff, to be honest with you. I still don't love it, but Iwakuma's pitched well lately. Tomlin gave him a good start today. Waka, I mean, I don't think it's one of the most feared teams in the playoffs, but I would never say that I've got an auto win against somebody in the playoffs, but I definitely am more worried about the hitting than the pitching.
Well, I think I beat him 7-3 both times this year, but I'd say of all the teams I'm likely to go up against in the second round, he's probably the last one. It's somewhere with him, John Seth, but as far as the one I'd least like to go up with against, but Nick has the experience. He doesn't have the title, but he definitely has the experience, and I trust the managerial moves that he'll make in crucial situations. But I do not want to face Nick S. I think he'll have something to say when it comes to who wins the title this year.
Interesting. All right, let's move it on. Number 4 in the power rankings. Oh, that was number 4. Correction. Number 3 now. I've got myself there. Number 3.
That's crazy.
Slender Man lost 6-4 back-to-back weeks to Seth and Derek. I thought I had a pretty good week, but that Chris Bryant home run here tonight swung at another category, 6-4.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I disagree with this. As much as I like to see Seth move up in the power rankings, I think that's a little silly. Although I pointed out in the text, so if it's 6-4, does that mean Seth is 2 games behind you for the final?
I think I've got a three-game lead going into the final week. And he's got Brandon, who has no pickups, and I've got Brad, who's non-existent. So you got 2 teams that can't do anything. See how it goes.
No, I think you're looking at it wrong. I think he's only 1.5 games out of.
Oh, was I?
Look at the standings again.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking 3 in the win column. You're right. It's a game and a half.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
I mean, if the 2 Weddles ended up with 2 buys, it'd be just madness. I don't know how this happened. I mean, the pitching staff is still the same. There was no big trade.
He had a very fortunate matchup. Eric had a pretty awful week. So I'm pretty sure Derek would have beaten Seth this week.
Maybe, yeah, but everybody gets to play everybody twice, pretty much. So
yeah,
just look at Seth's last 6-7 weeks. I feel like I'm the only team that's beat him in the last 6 weeks. So he's gone on a tear, and obviously the guys that were started slow came back around. There's been a couple pitchers that he was unwilling to trade, and that's been good for him. And obviously you go back to the McCutchen trade. I mean, that might be worth a couple spots in the standings alone. So I thought he did well, and I mean nobody's had this good a rookie year ever. I don't think anyone's ever won the championship their first year, have they? Except for the first year we ever started.
Michael won his first year.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I've got myself at third. I like my team a little bit better if my guys can come back healthy. So I've got Springer, who should be back next week. Matz is going to be back next week, and then Hunter Pence. I still don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know if he'll be back in time for the playoffs or not. But I don't have the tiebreaker over you. Depending on how I think me and Seth are tied on the season, so I need to finish higher in the actual standings to have the tiebreaker over Seth. So kind of dwindling down here the last few weeks for me.
Yeah, and that's gone a long way to helping me clinch the number one because Ben's really fallen off, and you haven't had great results. I'm sorry I got carried away with Seth because in my mind he's the number 3 team. I don't think you honestly believe you're down at number 3, but I'll play your games. I feel like if you poll the league today though, you're still the favorite to win the championship.
I don't know. I was super surprised everybody said that. I don't understand why nobody thought you were the favorite, considering you got the tiebreaker over everybody. You got to buy.
I think I should be the favorite, but we know I'm definitely not the league favorite. In terms of likability.
So if you had to give yourself a percentage chance of winning the title this year for yourself, what would it be?
Myself? Well, it's got to be at least 25 because I'll be one of the final 4. I mean, probably 51.
51.
I think I'd go 51. I'd give you about. Now that's a little high. I don't know, but I feel good. I'm happy with where I am.
All right, let's move it on. Number 2 in the power rankings. We talked about him a little bit, but I've got Seth there. The Right Reverend. He's got Donaldson. He's ranked, I think, 3rd on the season before today. He had another home run today. He's got 106 RBI on the season, leads the majors. Offense has really been clicking lately. The pitching staff has been pitching a lot better, too.
Yeah, I don't feel like you'd have to check the record. I don't think really he's won ERA or WHIP a lot of times lately, but seems to get at least have been getting strikeouts a lot recently and wins. So, I don't know. If he doesn't get the bye, which, you had Brad the last week, and he has Eric.
He is Brandon. He is Brandon.
Yeah, so I feel like you never know with Brad. You never know what weeks he'll come alive. He's a big fan of yours, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he puts absolutely zero effort and maybe makes a little extra effort to bench a guy or two. But
he made no effort against Michael this week.
What's that?
He made no effort against Michael this week and came out with a tie.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know who the worst matchup is, actually. Brad's funny. I mean, not to talk about his team any more than he should, but seriously, if that team was in the hands of another manager, it would have been a serious threat to make the playoffs, don't you think?
It was, yeah. He had a really good offense to start the year. He still has a pretty good offense. He's got 3 legit aces at the top of the rotation in Gray and DeGrom and Lester. Lester's pitched pretty well lately. Yeah, he could have done a lot better with this team.
It's truly a lack of effort, and if there's not at least some serious thought put into him coming back next year. I'm going to be disappointed if it's just an automatic, yay, he's back. He's got some serious things to prove in football.
Yeah, the problem is we just don't have a lot of strong candidates to find for baseball.
I mean, I don't think
you were a pretty huge skeptic of John when he first came into the league.
Yeah. I mean, the draft was not good, but obviously he turned it around. He showed care. He probably had more podcast appearances than anybody in the league, and obviously he and Seth, the two rookies, have done well.
All right, so I've got you at the top spot, number 1 in the power rankings. Tell me if there's a weakness or something you don't feel good about your team heading into the playoffs, what would that be?
I think I got the chessboard set right where I want it. I got 4 pickups to play around with this week to really make it tough on my semifinal opponent. I guess there's a couple guys at the bottom of the rotation that I don't exactly trust, but I think that's true of every team. I couldn't be more perfectly set up right now. I'm really, really excited about the possibilities.
Well, no weakness, huh?
Well, I don't know. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Just, second in the rotation, but that's true of most teams.
Yeah,
but the front end is as good as anybody's, if not better than anybody's, and then Fernandez could be back by the time the second week comes around in the playoffs, so...
That'd be awesome. Yeah, the thing is, I think I said this about earlier in the group text, but you just look at a team like Den who has all starting pitchers. He had more 2-start guys than me this week, and still strikeouts wasn't close. And I only streamed, I streamed nobody. My one pickup this week was Wellington Castillo.
Yeah, I was looking at that. You still had more innings than him somehow, so what happened there? Did he not have as many 2-starters as you were complaining about earlier or something?
No, it's still true, but when you have better pitchers, they tend to go longer in the game. So innings are, I know that looks funny, but he did have one guy lose his second start, and I had one guy gain a second start for the week that didn't have an arrow. So
you didn't tell us about that.
Well, yeah, of course not. I only mentioned the negatives. You know my style. But I believe the total pitching count was 15 to 10 for him this week.
Okay. And then you had the 4 relievers. Yeah, you would have thought that he would have had more innings, but I think he had 7 or 8 more or less, I checked.
Yeah, well, pretty much everybody went 4.25 innings every start. Like I said, when you got these rookies like that, that's the other thing that's underrated about these rookies is even when they're pitching okay, they're not going to let them go deep in the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like John Gray, I mean, it's unlikely that he will ever pitch more than 6 innings in a game. Andrew Haney might be the exception to that, I guess. But even he gave up zero runs in his start and only went 6 innings. So, that's going to play when we get to the playoffs.
All right, so that concludes the final edition of the Power Rankings for the regular season. Any other thoughts or predictions you'd like to make for this final week?
Why did you take so many weeks off? What percent of the reason that you took so many weeks off had to do with, dang it, I got to put Drew at number 1?
I know I put you number 1 before, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you did, but maybe the kind of left a bad taste in your mouth,
I just get really burned out, like during that All-Star week. I was really into it, and that All-Star break came around, and then when it was just time for the season to kick back into form, I didn't get back on board right then.
That's fair. But obviously, I think this will probably be the last one we do. Maybe
we'll probably do one next week for football, which I did want to spend a few minutes about just talking about football because I know you've got some pretty strong thoughts and opinions about the settings for this season.
Yeah, that's true. I'd like to do another baseball podcast. Maybe a playoff preview or something like that. We'll see. 2 podcasts in a weekend might be a little bit, but it is Labor Day weekend next week, so we will have a little extra time if you're not going out of town.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have an extra day, so technically we could move the draft to Sunday if but I'm sure that wouldn't work for somebody out of 14 teams.
Yeah, and Derek can't do it on Sundays.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
So football thoughts.
I'm trying to get fed down for the game. He has tickets for the Razorback game, and I'm trying to tell him it's UTEP, man. I mean, come on, you're gonna have way more fun at the fantasy football draft, and you'll be able to drink beer. So I don't know why he's obviously he's committed to the league, but I guess he's more committed to the Hogs, even though they're playing UTEP.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to go to that game too. It's a tough situation. So, is he going to be able to make the draft? Because right now it's set for like 30 minutes after the game's going to be over. I mean, is he even able to get back to his wherever he lives to draft that quickly?
Yeah, I think he will. What game starts at 2:30?
Yeah, the draft's set for 6.
Yeah, he'll make it. I mean, and honestly, in a game like that, you're more than likely going to leave in the third quarter or so, anyways, right?
Some of us.
Well, he better. My mom's saying he might not. He's pretty hardcore, but
yeah, I wouldn't be leaving personally, but all right. So give me your thoughts on the football settings and the 14-team league and all this and that.
I don't trust that.
What do you not trust about them?
I'm scared what's going to happen. I'm afraid settings are going to change after the draft. You know what it is? He gets bored. He wants to have some like Obama. He wants to have some piece of legislation with his name on it. Something, He's not necessarily worried about the good of the league. He just wants to stamp his name on some new groundbreaking twist for the league, and I don't like him having that kind of power.
So, I guess the major change is the roster. It's going to be having the 4 or 5 flex spots. I can't even remember how many it is, but that was actually Seth's idea.
I think it's a good idea, actually. I think give the people more choices.
I'm shocked that you said that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm also a keep it pure guy, but if you're gonna give me the option of more flexibility within your roster, or I have to choose 3 wide receivers, I'll choose this format.
Okay.
Although I haven't looked though. Is IDP still in there?
Yes, it is. 3, 1 defensive lineman, 1 linebacker, and 1 defensive back.
I mean, this is going to be. You remember the first year we did auction in the 14-team league, and everybody was lost.
Yeah.
And people like Ben left. Ben is the only guy in the league that can somehow at the same time overpay for players and leave money on the table at the end. I've never seen anyone be able to do that combination of
and he usually has good teams. It's like the guys that he overpays for, it seems like an overpay at the time, but they usually come out to be worth it.
Right, and Chris Davis is an example of that if he had held on to him this year.
Yeah.
But
so, you're okay with the rosters? Are you okay with? I don't know. I guess the scoring is the same. Although there's
what?
I
want 12 teams.
I would prefer 12 teams too, but I think it's going to be a little easier with the roster flexibility that we've got with 14 than it would have. When that 1 year we played with 14 teams, I think it'll be a little easier.
We're all talking about what a tool Brad is going to be on draft night. I don't know why we feel like we have to have him there. It's the only night that he participates, and his participation is frankly annoying. So I don't know why he's playing.
I don't even think I think he hinted that he wasn't going to be at the draft. I think he was saying that his baby's on the way any day or something like that, or maybe he's already had it. I don't know, but he said he's probably not coming down.
And it's not too late. I'm saying get him out of here. Get Heavy C out of here. That guy doesn't even set his lineup on bye weeks. And I think we have a really solid group of 12, with the exception of John's friend, who I don't really know anything about.
And Josh, you've always been against Josh.
Who would have thought that we would have? Just take me back to baseball draft night last year. Who would have thought that we had not only had John in the league the next year, but one of his friends?
John and Michael and Nick, these new additions that have been added over the years, Brandon, and Verdict might still be out a little bit on Eric, but he's definitely progressed over the course of the season. They've all been solid additions. And Seth, yeah, I forgot about Seth. Seth has been a lot better. That 1 year he played basketball, that was just a joke. So I'm glad he stepped his game up. He must just not have a big passion for the NBA or something.
He still finished ahead of 4 people that are still in the league. So He finished ahead of Josh. He finished ahead of the boss. Well, the boss was in
See,
there.
the only thing I remember him doing was missing the playoffs and then giving you that trade. He made one trade the entire year and is with you.
Yeah. Well, I am not my brother's keeper. He's definitely his own guy. And it's shown that this year. And I've probably been less. I haven't even tried to trade with him this year just because of how it would look. So, and I guided him on the first few trades, but at first he was really nervous and he asked questions literally about every trade. I started not answering after about the fourth or fifth trade, and I was like, just manage your team. And turns out the decisions he made were pretty good. But I would definitely get Brandon Hevesy out of there. I'm just saying. I mean, 3 weeks in, you're going to tell me I'm right. Or maybe you won't tell me I'm right.
I might be thinking it. All right. So I would like to just throw out a few names and see if I'm correct. And these are the guys that you wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a shock for you to draft them. Number 1 is no surprise. It's got to be Cam Newton, right? I mean, he could go for single digits.
Oh, I'm not interested.
Yeah, right. I don't buy that at all. They have Eli Manning ranked above him.
Well, I don't know. I haven't paid much attention, and I still haven't listened to a football podcast other than Nate Rabbits' Farewell Show. But
so not a big Cam Newton fan this year.
Well, I mean, no one's watched more Cam Newton than me the last 2 years, and with Kelvin Benjamin gone, I mean, I don't see how he gets over 200 yards a game ever.
Okay.
And he seems to be running less and less each year. So, I'd probably be more. I love me some running quarterbacks. I'd probably be more likely to go in the direction of a Russell Wilson. Although, despite getting to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, or 2 years in a row, that guy has some pretty ugly weeks, and he can't necessarily be trusted to get you to double-digit points. So, which isn't even really that high a mark. So, I don't know. I thought we were going to play that game. Remember when we did the preseason baseball show earlier this year? Can you name what team this player is on?
Okay, let's do that.
If you were going to go that route.
All right, we'll do that. Let's do that. I'll just throw out a few names real quick. I forgot about that game. All right, number 1, Frank Gore.
He is on the Colts.
That's correct. All right, number 2, Amir Abdullah.
Oh, gosh. The Giants.
The Lions.
The Lions.
TJ Yeldon.
Yeldon?
Yep, from Alabama.
I don't know.
Jaguars.
Yay.
Ryan Matthews.
He is on the Eagles.
That's good. All right. Let's do Reggie Bush.
So the Lions?
49ers.
Oh, weird.
All right. Let's do Doug Martin.
Oh, no. Cowboys.
The Bucks.
Oh, dang it. I knew you were going to do one of those. It was already big in the preseason of baseball.
All right. Let's do Andre Johnson.
Colts. You know I know. Anyone who's on my team, don't quiz me on one of my guys.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I don't think he left. I'm going to say Redskins.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
Jeremy Maclin.
Oh, wow. No, you know what? I think I do remember him leaving. The 49ers?
The Chiefs.
That's interesting. Over under 3 touchdowns.
I'll go over.
After a year where the Chiefs receivers didn't catch a single touchdown?
Sure.
Is that right? Did they end up going the whole season without a touchdown?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they never got one.
It's crazy.
All right, we'll do 2 or 3 more. Mike Wallace.
Dolphins.
Vikings.
Well, that's a little bit of a decline. Bridgewater's going to start this year?
I don't know. Some people like him as a sleeper.
I don't know. I'd be staying away from the Vikings. I mean, that's going to be interesting now. Are 3 tight ends going to be taken?
That is going to, yeah. I feel like there will probably be 6 or 7. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure that everybody will, there'll probably be a bunch of them drafted, but I don't know how many are going to be held on to through the course of the year.
I think it's weird. You know, we do one of every position. Why don't we do one tight end? I feel like that would be the one adjustment I'd want to make in that format.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Because you're just killing the value of Gronkowski.
I think Gronkowski's still going to be pretty awesome, but...
I know, but you're taking away the advantage. I mean, I don't even know how to price these guys now.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure it takes off at least $7 or $8 off the price, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would still compare Gronkowski to maybe a low-end number 1 receiver or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, he's money in the bank. I mean, obviously as long as he's healthy. But I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like the taking away that advantage. I think if you get one of the elite tight ends, you should be rewarded for that. And that would be the one adjustment I would make. I'm pretty happy with the flexibility because how many flexes would that leave you? That leave you with 1, 2, 3. That'd still leave you with 3 flexes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But I wouldn't expect the league to change. It sounds like we're pretty set.
Let's do a couple more. Percy Harvin.
I'm gonna say he's still on the Jets.
He's on the Bills.
Oh, you followed Rexy.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh gosh, I forgot he left. God, I don't know where he went though. He went. I don't know, buddy.
The Jets. Dwayne Bowe, one of your old favorites.
Dwayne Bowe?
Yeah.
I did see something about him. He is nowhere special, I don't think. The Bills?
The Browns.
Yep, same thing. Nowhere special.
All right, let's do one last one. Make sure that you've been paying attention this year. What team is Nick Foles on?
Oh, the Rams.
All right, there you go. All right, so your hit percentage there was pretty low.
Yeah, no, I mean that's to be expected. I mean it was low in baseball, and look who the number 1 seed is.
So, how much do you think J.J. Watt will go for?
I have no freaking idea.
Because you got to think about it. He even had 2 receiving touchdowns last year because they put him in at goal line occasionally.
That's right. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, 25 bucks.
Wow. So 25 out of a $200 budget. So 50. That's like
I don't think you understand. I don't even know how high he is scored. Like I don't even know how much a tackle is or something.
Well. All right. Off the top of your head, who's your number 1 kicker?
You know what? Give me I don't even know his name. Give me the Eagles kicker. I like that guy.
The Cody Parkey.
Yeah, that guy's double digits in the bank every week.
I would not have remembered that. I have it pulled up though. I would not have remembered his name either.
Yeah, but he was good. What about you?
Oh, I don't know. Gronkowski, or Gostowski. I don't know. I don't really care. I'd be actually would be okay with getting rid of the kicker.
Yeah, I think it's weird that we got rid of the tight end but held on to the kicker. But
Did you know that Eli Manning was ranked higher than Matt Ryan last year, or had more points?
No, I didn't.
And Stafford. It's crazy. And Cam.
Didn't Eli have like 30 interceptions or something?
He had 14. Pretty good year, actually.
Oh, that must have been 2 years ago.
All right, last question. How many points per game did Odell Beckham Jr. average per game?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say 19.
I think that's about right. I can't do the math. I guess I don't have the calculator up. 224 points in 12 games. So he had, that sounds about right. 20 would be 240, so 19 sounds pretty close. That's pretty crazy for a rookie.
It is crazy. Do you think it's... I'm not going to say sustainable, but do you think they'll finish as a top 10? Do you think they'll finish as a top 10 receiver again?
Yeah, I think he'll finish as a top 10 guy.
I don't know. Just, you know how I am about rookies. And I don't know. Receivers can be just... I don't know. Well, his price is going to be insane, though, right? It's going to be...
Oh, yeah.
I think $40, right?
Well, let me look and see. I think he's got to be one of the top 10, higher than that. Let me see where they've got him ranked.
He's probably in the top 10 overall, isn't he?
I don't know. I think Antonio Brown's the number 1 receiver.
I think you can make the argument.
They've got him at 9th overall.
I think you can definitely make that argument.
They've actually got Dez Bryant at 7th overall. That seems too high to me. I like Dez a lot. I guess wow. Are those projections? Oh, those are projections I was looking at. So to say I didn't remember Dez having 16 touchdowns last year. That's just a prediction.
I was going to say, it's weird to see 3 receivers in the top 10. You don't normally see that.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting year. I feel like nobody's really going to know what they're doing with all these IDPs and everything and the roster flexibility. I'm probably going to go completely different than what I did last year. Last year I took a bunch of running backs and then I ended up getting Jimmy Graham. Had a horrible year, so I think I might just abandon that and go heavy at quarterback and heavy at receiver.
Right. What do you think about this Obamacare-like new waiver system that we're going to have?
I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to work out. I actually voted to put the waivers on. That's the way that most leagues play. I kind of want to play it out and see what happens with the waiver money and all that stuff, and then I won't feel like I have to watch every second of red zone.
Sweet idea. Most leagues are standard. I think that's a terrible argument, what most leagues do. I'm sorry, most leagues do snake is what I mean.
I was going to say, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I know what your fake laugh sounds like. Yeah, I think only maybe 15 or 20% of fantasy football leagues are auction leagues. It's definitely the right way to go, and that'll probably change eventually. But I don't like the new waiver system. I'm not crazy about IDPs. What were the other 2 big changes? The roster flexibility, and then there's one more.
I got to tell you, this IDP thing, it's going to be a complete game changer. Because these are not subtle differences in the point scoring with the IDP. These are pretty drastic, and it's really going to change things up a lot.
Yeah, but see, I don't like it because what is?
Let me read you some of these stats, the points, because I don't think you are probably aware yet.
Wait. Let me ask you a question first.
Okay.
What is a guy like Richard Sherman worth? A guy that people avoid, so he doesn't get stats.
I have no idea. But let me read you the stats. 1 point for a solo tackle, 1 point for an assisted tackle, 4 points for a sack, 6 points for an interception, 4 points for a forced fumble, 2 for a fumble recovery, 6 for a touchdown. Listen to this one. 10 points for a safety.
Oh my gosh. This is stupid. I don't like that.
3 points for a pass defended. 1 point, 1 additional point for a tackle for loss. 10 points for a turnover return yard. So if you recover a fumble, run it back 30 yards, it's 3 extra points.
I don't like it.
It's gonna be crazy. Watt could go for some serious money.
I don't like this at all. That's too many points for stuff. 6 points for an interception, but 2 for a fumble.
For a recovery, 4 for the forced.
Oh, so you don't even have to be the guy that knocks it loose. You're just the lucky SOB that recovers the ball in the pile.
Right.
And the 1 point per tackle? Are you kidding me? There's people that don't go to the NFL that make 18 tackles a game in college. And they don't even have to be good.
This is going to be a game changer. I was looking at it earlier. J.J. Watt, he scored 301 points last year. The next highest defensive lineman scored 126 points less.
have you done any monster apps with IDP yet?
No, I don't even think you can on Yahoo. I haven't done any mocks. But yeah, he scored 308 points last year, I guess. And the second highest was Pierre Paul, who obviously is without a finger or whatever. He scored 175. The third, he scored more than double points, the third highest defensive lineman with the scoring system.
That's big. I mean, how many offensive players scored over 300 fantasy points last year?
That's a good question. Let me look at the quarterbacks. I guess there were 6 quarterbacks that scored over 300. Just 6. He scored one less point than Drew Brees.
That's crazy.
It's gonna be wild.
I wouldn't start out with 3.
Yeah.
This is.
I like a lot of it, but I think he might have gone a little too far on some of the scoring being a little too high for the defense. We'll see what happens between now and the draft time.
This is standard scoring.
No, it is not the standard scoring.
He made up his own.
He told me that he did a bunch of research and stuff, and that's what a lot of other leagues play with, or something like that. His idea was to try to make the defense equally as valuable as the offense.
That's stupid. I believe he did the research because he had the time, But we'll see. I'm a little less excited now. If I'm being honest.
It's gonna be awesome. Nobody's gonna know what's going on.
Oh my gosh.
When J.J. Watt goes for $60.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
All right.
You got me all the way home. We're all the way back in Maumelle now, so.
All right.
For that. I have a couple cold chicken tenders in my box, thanks to you. But that's okay. It's a good discussion.
All right. Well, I'll get this posted, and we will talk later. See you at the draft next weekend.
See you at the draft.
See ya.